Welcome back to the Cat Workshop, folks. This is the 12th video that documents how I'm building these huge cabinets for my former regiment, the Royal Canadian Hussars. I'm in the process of cutting holes in the center of the top shelf that will accept an LED recessed light. I'm doing that for all three sections of the hutch. Now, to do so, I rented a 6-inch hole saw that had the sharpness of a toothless grin. It was awful. I almost burnt my drill with this tool. So what I ended up doing was using the hole saw to put a slight track in the plywood, which then allowed me to use my jigsaw to cut the hole for good. Now, this jigsaw is very old and uncomfortable. It's very jumpy. It's not a tool that I like to use, probably because of the fact that it's very jumpy. But I'll be looking to replace it eventually. Bottom line, at the end of the day, is that this approach worked, and you actually see at the end that the lights can be properly installed using this whole method. My approach throughout this project has been to take baby steps and apply finish once I've completed a section of the work. Now, for this video, I thought it would be useful to review the steps I'm following to apply said finish. Off camera, I sanded all the white oak surfaces that would require finish. I went from 80 to 220 grit. I also sanded the plywood surfaces by hand using only the 220 grit sandpaper. After cleaning up, I applied 2 coats of stain to all surfaces. Now, staining is easy. You just need to brush on following the direction of the grain. One little note here is I had to use Q-tips to apply stain in the shelf pin holes. After waiting for about 5 minutes, I would take a soft towel and wipe off the excess stain and let dry at least 2 hours. Now, in the end, applying stain to all the surfaces, 2 coats, and all the wait time and stuff, it took me a couple of days to get everything done on all the surfaces. The next step in the process was to apply varnish. Now, in this case, I'm using a semi-gloss floor varnish. And I'm using that because it's going to make the piece of furniture even more durable. And I'm going to end up applying 4 coats. Now, one thing I want you to note, the first coat is always the longest to apply because the pores of the wood are still open. We'll get a good example here as I apply a first coat to a plywood board that will end up being the bottom shelf of one of the hutches. So I'm going to end up putting 4 coats of varnish. The operation is the same between each coat. So once the coat is dried, I need at least 2 hours. I usually take a little longer. Life does get in the way. But I'll take fine sandpaper. This is a fine sandpaper sponge. It's about 220 grit, the equivalent of that. Or I'll take a paper of 220 grit. And I will lightly sand following the direction of the grain. And what I'm trying to remove is just the rough spots and any dust that might have fallen on top. Then I'll use my shop vac I'll vacuum the surfaces, and before applying the final coat, I'll use a tack cloth and just remove the final dust, and then I'll put my coat. And the coat takes about, for all the 12 panels, takes about 45 minutes, an hour to do. When you count the sanding, it goes between an hour and 15, whatever. And then I gotta wait 2 hours. And I can't do anything else, because if I do, then there's gonna be dust all over the shop, it'll fall on the panels, and it's gonna look like crap. 4 coats. This is coat number 1 that's completed. Time to start working on coat number 2. Happy New Year, everybody, and be safe in your shop. All right, it is finally time for some assembly. The pieces are cut to size, stained, and varnished. So I have a lot of footage here, and I'm going to be zooming through this at 4 times speed. I want to give you an appreciation for the process to put the hutches together. This video covers how I build and move the middle section of the hutch. So I started with one of the sides panels and laid it down on the bench, applied some glue in the dado, and that was for the bottom shelf. I then inserted the shelf in the dado and very carefully pivoted this whole thing 90 degrees. Then that got me, that was supported enough or solid enough that I could put the second side of the panel for the right side in this case. Now at this point this is pretty precarious, so I'm going to do a preliminary and very quick check for square, and then I'm going to secure everything with some screws. I'm going to tackle the bottom strips at this point. So there are 2 of them, and in order to properly secure them and drill proper pilot holes, I need to pull it to one side of the bench, drill the pilot holes, and then secure these strips with glue and some screws. Secure the other side now, and in order to do that I have to pull the entire assembly over to the other side of the bench, drill the pilot holes, and then secure the strips with other screws. The whole thing is starting to look a lot more solid at this point. Alright, here comes the fun part, where things did not go so well or according to plan. So I started by adding some glue to the rabbets on the top of the assembly and then positioning the top shelf in place. So at this point, that board is not secured. Also, you've seen me, I have to work while standing on top of the bench. It is solid, but it's not very wide, which makes moving around a bit of a pain. Anyways, as I'm about to fasten the first screw, you'll see that the shelf drops. I was lucky nothing broke. That would have been a bear. I could have used clamps to temporarily secure the assembly. I ended up calling for help. I needed it anyways to move the piece on top of the cabinet. So management got called in to save the day. So with my wife's help, we were able to position and hold the board in place while I secured both sides with screws. Off camera, we tried to move the hutch by hand, but found it really too heavy to handle. So my wife had a great idea. She asked me, do you have a mobile table that we could use to move the hutch close to the cabinets? And I thought that was brilliant because it so happens my workbench is on casters. So by activating the casters, we were able to migrate the assembly close to the cabinets, and then we only have a little bit of lifting to do to put the hutch in place. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Alright, so I'm going to be concluding the video at this point. Today is the 3rd of January, and what I've been working on is the electricity to put the lights. You see that they are lit, so I have now a good idea of how this is going to work out. So this is taking shape in a big way, and big is the operative word. This is getting scarily big in terms of pieces of furniture. But I'm very happy with the way it looks. In the next weeks/months, I'm going to be building a face frame. I need to go get wood for that. I'm going to be building a crown molding. I need to build 6 doors for the hutch. I need to put some sort of decorative motif on those doors. So I just don't want like plain glass doors here. I'm also going to be building shelves. So the shelves are going to be a carcass of probably plywood with some plexiglass in the middle, so that the light can permeate through the cabinets. And finally, I'll be building some drawers for the cabinet. I keep talking about the doors. The doors are still here, and something special is supposed to happen to the doors, but I'm a little bit blocked right now. I'll let you know as soon as I get some news on that. Anyways, folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for looking at this. If you have a comment, please leave it below. Click that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so. You know the drill. So in the meantime, thanks, and see you soon at the new Yankee Workshop. No, not at all. See you soon at the LA Cats Workshop. Take care, folks.